Capricorn, it's November 2019. I'm Dadhichi from astrology.com.au and I love your horoscope this month. Let me start this wheel going. I'm going to try to get some sort of measure of understanding here, especially given that the position of Mercury here, as you notice, goes retrograde straight as the month starts. And that's happening in your 11th house. Venus doesn't hang around long here. The 11th house, this section of your horoscope, has a lot to do with friendships. It's got a lot to do with the social connections that you have. So it appears that there's something going on there that is definitely going to affect your decisions associated with those friendships. It's a revisionary period. It's a rethink about those relationships. Mercury is a very, very good planet, however, ruling this 9th house of the horoscope. And therefore, when a positive planet is retrograde, it's quite likely the effects of this are beneficial. Now, the retrogression will always give that delay factor, even if it strengthens the planet. And so it shows us that you more than likely have to wait for the good effects of this. This could be new friendships, new connections, networking in areas that you haven't before. That's also shown by your career planet here, Venus, ruling Libra, moving through this 12th house of foreign affairs. And there, Jupiter, the planet of foreign affairs, the 12th ruler, also in this area, indicating your connection or at least interest with those sort of areas. Venus in the 12th house, by the way, is a very luxurious position. And so it's an expenditure house. So in this, I'm just going to slow this down a little bit so we don't get ahead of ourselves. So the placement of these planets shows a high expenditure, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. The Sun and Mercury here in the 11th indicate income, whereas the Venus and Jupiter in the 12th house show outgoings. So it may be that you're spending, it could be on charitable causes, could be spending on your friends as well. Because as we said, this retrograde Mercury creates a real deep rethink. Family matters here around the 9th and the 10th as the waxing moon, getting brighter here in this 4th sector in Aries. Gets a bit of a hard aspect from Mars there around the 11th. That can be some hair trigger emotions. And it's also shown by the fact that it's next to Uranus here. So family matters here, 9th, 10th, then the 11th here, moving into the area of children, creativity, love affairs. Lovely aspects there from the past karma point, indicating association maybe with people from your past. The 5th house is also a strong creative element, but here we see on the 12th, the full moon impacted by this retrograde Mercury. So the 11th house is friendships, but 5th house is love affairs. So there may be some sort of misunderstanding or some issues that you have to deal with, especially after that opposition to Mars here in this 4th house, then moving in the 5th. 6th house after the 14th is important for your health, workplace agreements, workplace relationships as well. And it is a place of service. So yeah, the work theme is coming through fairly strongly this month in terms of it having to do with your connections with others and how that may be also affecting your health. The movement out of there on the 16th is quite nice. I think that will make you feel a lot better. You should also keep your eye here on Mars, which throughout this whole period is really pushing you to achieve a lot in your professional arena. We see that it will move here into the 11th house. All the planets do well in the 11th house. So as well as the networking thing that I'm seeing there for you, this has a fair bit to say about your profitability and the efforts that you're making in your work. That would start to show its results financially, I think, when Mars moves into this 11th house, into its own sign on the 19th, as it does just there. So you can see the planets moving in these different areas of the zodiac. This is a lovely aspect here in the 12th house. When we mentioned foreign affairs, expenses, charitable work, this Venus and Jupiter is one of the best combinations in the horoscope. Jupiter's not your friendliest planet, but I've got to say it actually still brings some good fortune to you in this area. And by the way, when the Sun moves into this area, as it does on the 23rd, the 12th house has to do with what the Hindu astrologers call sukha, or the bed pleasures. So this is desirable from the point of view of intimacy, along with the 8th house. And some people ask me why. Well, the 12th house, the 8th house, and this 4th house are what we call the spiritual triangle. Sexuality doesn't seem very spiritual, but it is. You know, there's a whole system of philosophy based upon the Tantra. You notice here Venus moves out on the 26th, really energizing your sun sign, but the new moon here just towards the end of the month is also very telling. The new moon shows where you're going to turn over a new leaf, where you're going to make some new inroads into your life. And so spirituality is a very big one here on the list, and one in which you start to gain some satisfaction in terms of serving others and generously giving of your time and resources. I'm not saying that you should do that foolishly. You should be very, very careful. You notice here that Mercury also, I missed that, sometime around the 23rd went forward in its direction. So around this time, 28th, 29th, you can expect all of those sorts of decisions that you've been labouring over your friendships, over your work, over how much money to share with other people, that should start to be much, much clearer to you. And thankfully, you've taken the time, and that's the benefit of these retrograde planets, to give you the opportunity to go through and to think things through clearly. Venus here is lovely. It's a great end to the month. And of course, that's going to be a prelude to next month, which I'll talk to you about next month when I see you. But that gives you a sense of beauty, a sense of popularity. People are attracted to you. And so this is great for your relationships, as is this brightening new moon here. Again, influencing your marital sector, your partnerships, for an excellent start to the following month. I look forward to seeing you then. Don't forget to drop me a line if you wish. Subscribe to our channel here. Pop in at astrology.com.au. You can find more on your daily, monthly and yearly readings. I've started uploading 2020, so that's going to be available for you shortly too. See you next month. Bye-bye.